5 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The amendment I bring forward right now on this bill is really directed at addressing a bureaucratic red tape inefficiency that is causing over 1 million American workers to make multiple trips to get a document that their workers require them to have, the federal government requires them to have. It's a transportation worker identification credential, and it's an important document to have, but it was created back in 2007, and there's 5-year limitation, and it's got to be renewed. And a worker has to go into an office, a registered TWIC office, and they've got to go and get their fingerprint taken. They've got to get their picture taken, present credentials to get the card. The problem with the implementation is that the department's been requiring these workers to go back multiple times to get the card when, in fact, example is issued. You can go in and you can fill out the paperwork, and then they send you the passport. It works that way for most forms of identification. But for whatever reason in this TWIC program, the department's been requiring multiple trips. The reason that this is a big issue for all of these workers, there are 1.8 million Americans who are required to have a TWIC card in order to do their jobs. And so under these current rules, they have to go and make multiple trips. And in some cases, this isn't an office right down the street. This is an office over 100 miles away. I have a letter from the Passenger Vessel Association in support of this amendment, and they point out frequently the TWIC enrollment center is hundreds of miles away from a mariner's home, necessitating 2 round trips of many hours in duration. It is not uncommon for the mariner to be forced to stay overnight during each round trip. And of course, the employee has to pay for these round trips, has to pay for the overnight, has to be away from their job, and for no valid reason. In fact, the department hasn't even implemented rules to properly utilize these TWIC cards, yet they're still making the employees go and have these multiple trips. If you imagine a state like Alaska, where you might have to spend days to go get the card, and you have to first go spend days to go file for the card, then you have to go spend days to go get the card. And this is unnecessary, and it's an incredible burden on our workforce, and it's something that we can address by preventing the funds from being used for implementing this policy. Still gives them broad discretion to implement a successful TWIC program, but again, just like passports or other forms of identification, our over 1.8 million American workers shouldn't be forced to jump through all of these bureaucratic red tape hoops that are actually costing them money that they should be able to spend on their family. And so with that, I would ask for support and would yield back the balance of my time.
The gentleman